throughout my school, I very much used to love chemistry, and I thought of uh, chemical engineering as basically an application of chemistry into real life in solving engineering problems. So I joined chemical engineering. So throughout my chemical engineering undergrad, I tried to find a direction in terms of whether I want to go to the industry or want to carry on with my research. And I found that it was more suitable. In my third year, I found it was more suitable for me to go into industry, as in my third year internship, I did a third year internship in Reliance, and I got exposed to solving industrial problems, and I thought of going to the industry straight after my graduation. So since that was in my third year, I did not focus much into publishing papers or doing research related activities. You can see that my undergrad major project and was totally unrelated, and so I was basically totally focused on the industry. So after my undergrad, I joined Dr. Reddy's Laboratories as a production engineer, and initially I expected this was an attitude problem on my part, because I expected to be spoon-fed from the side of the company, like they will come running to me with to solve their problems. And because of this attitude problem, I had trouble adjusting to how they conduct their day-to-day operations. Even though I saw them conducting their day-to-day operations, however they carry them out. But at the end of my first year, in Dr. Reddy's, I had a brief grasp on how the organization works and how the shop floor activity is carried out there. So they basically manufacture active pharmaceutical and
Hello?
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think you went cut off. You were trying to explain about your experience at Dr. Reddy's lab.
Yes. So that was I was just talking about how my first year in Dr. Reddy's went. So as I just told you, I was not much involved with company related activities, and I was just trying to adjust to the mindset of working in a pharmaceutical company. So at the start of my second year, they decided to allot me as a production shift in charge, and I myself then decided to take on the initiative of actually following an actual shift in charge, following how they carry out their day-to-day activities in a regular shift. And then I found that I actually liked the work, even though it was shift related activities. I was doing night shifts, but even after that I developed I even had a language problem, because the place had I am from Guwahati, Assam, and the place the vernacular language is Telugu. But then I believe myself to be an adaptable person, so I learned the language Telugu itself, and I became conversant in the language, because I had to interact with the shop floor workers properly in order to get to know what problems they face. So at the end of 6 months following that shift in charge, I developed quite a nice friendship and interaction. My interaction with the shop floor workers was quite good. So in interacting with them, I found that if I had worked as a process engineer in the same pharmaceutical company, I would not have known as much as I was getting to know from the shop floor. So there are tiny problems that the shop floor workers face that doesn't get passed on to the process engineer. So I actually like the shop floor work,
Mm-hmm.
and this continued for 6 months, and then they gave me the shift in charge responsibility, and so I started handling the shift responsibilities. And then for 5 or 6 months, I continued doing that. In the background, I also saw a few of my colleagues in Dr. Reddy's itself, and they had given two of my friends had given the GRE, and then one of them had gone to Purdue University for the same 1 year MS program, and another person had gone to Cornell for another 1 year MS program. So looking at them, I decided to write a GRE at least, and then develop a good score, and then at the end of 2 years, at least uh, aim at getting into a good college so that I can pursue my MS in chemical engineering. And I attempted GRE. I attempted it thrice, and I improved my score a lot. My last attempt, my GRE score was 330 out of 340. And I also gave my TOEFL in the meantime. And I decided that I will join Purdue. I got an admit from Purdue University, and I decided to join Purdue University on the January 2020. So there is a spring session of spring session of 2020. But and I left the Dr. Reddy's on August 2019. So I completed 2 complete years in Dr. Reddy's, and after that, I I had previously contacted a professor at IIT Guwahati whom I knew from my second year undergrad. I had done an internship under him before. So I just contacted him like for this 3 or 4 months period. Can I continue some fluid CFD related work? So he said, yeah, you can come, and then we can, because IIT Guwahati is close to my home as well. So I came and joined IIT Guwahati as a project assistant. But in the meantime,
So you
I
left
had some
you left the job, right?
Yeah, I left the job.
Okay.
I
And
left
this
the
is
job in
this
August of 2019.
okay, got it. So like before the pandemic, like roughly.
Yeah, that was before the pandemic.
Got it.
And I was due to join Purdue University from January 2020. But
Got it.
due to some visa issues, yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Yeah, due to some visa issues, I could not get my visa on time. So I had to defer my admission to fall of 2020, that is August of 2020. But then the pandemic started again, and I had to defer it again by 1 year. In the
Okay.
meantime, I continued doing my the same project that I was working on, CFD. And in the meantime, I learned ANSYS, and since this project could have been finished much earlier, but then I requested sir that since I have all this free time, let me, since I am just coming back from an industrial job, I want to refresh whatever I studied in my undergrad. So I just I just reviewed whatever I had learned, like thermodynamics and reaction engineering, as well as doing some online courses on data analysis and machine learning. And that is the case until this June. So I quite accidentally came across your videos, because in my uh, uh, so going back to January of 2020, the main motivation for joining an MS program for me was those I had looked at my colleagues, and they had both joined 1 year programs. In one girl was in Cornell and one girl was in Purdue. So my main motivation of joining the MS program was whatever was explained by them. So I just followed their path, and none of them had the objective of going on to a PhD. So both of them were keen on
Are you
doing a
one
job
question?
after that 1 year program.
Yeah, one question I have. Are you paying for your master's program, or you were getting some scholarship from Purdue?
No, it is paid, but now they have uh, the entire 1 year program costs around $40,000, and they are
Yeah,
offering me a scholarship of like $50,000, $5,000
yeah, but that's
for the entire
nothing.
1 year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you have to pay from your pocket.
Yes.
Okay. And you are okay with that?
Just coming back to like I found your channel around a couple of weeks back, and looking at I just it was just like I was totally holding on to a wrong notion that a 1 year MS could be sufficient for in the long term. But then looking at your videos and however you have counseled the students in the past 1 year and so on, I have come to the conclusion that 1 year MS is never worth the money, and I have decided to if I continue down the MS path, I would definitely join a PhD program.
Okay, so Deb, I think I have a good idea what you're talking about. Is there something else
Yes.
you want to talk me about? Like, let's talk about the future now. I think I got a good idea about your background, but let's talk more about what you want to do. As of now, what's your goal? What's your dream as our goals are? Let's talk about those.
Okay.
Because those are more important.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So as far as uh, my goals are concerned, I in the meantime, the during the pandemic time, I try to know more about the renewable energy sector and how chemical engineers are tackling it. For that, Stanford University has their YouTube channel. It's called Stanford Energy, and they invite various industry professionals, various
Yeah, that's fine.
professionals from the research field.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you tell me what you want to do as a goal in your life. So the goal could be, as you said, you said, I would like to stay in US. I want to have a life in US, and I want to work in an industry in US. Or your goal could be, and that is the reason why you joined MS, and probably you really want to do PhD, or you don't want to do PhD. um, so that to me is more important. Or looking forward, you want to have an options open where you want to come back to India and work in India, or you are open to work in Germany too. So that's more important for me. And what kind of a job would you be interested in? Would you be interested in academic job, or would you be interested in um, would you be interested in um, uh, industry R&D jobs, things like that. That is more important for me, because ultimately, here is the thing. Ultimately, once you finish your study, the whole reason you want to do study has an objective to it, right? So what is that objective?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that I want to listen to that part more than what a Stanford is there and all that. Those things are trivial. I know those things. So go ahead.
Right.
It's about you,
so
what you want to do.
Right. Right. So my ultimate objective is, say 10 or 15 years down the line, I want to have my own. I want to be an entrepreneur, basically. I want to be an entrepreneur in the field of renewable energy in my country.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That's why I'm saying, whenever I talk to students, one of the things that I always get confused is they don't have a very clear objective. See, hypothetically, you can do whatever you want, right? You can start an NGO at your home, serve poor people, but that's not the goal here. Because the whole reason you want to do a PhD in chemical engineering is just for fun. That's fine. Maybe you want to do something else that's separate, right? And maybe if you want to come to your own country, become an entrepreneur, you don't have to come to Purdue or do PhD. I mean, you will find a lot of people who, for the sake of knowledge, do things, even watching YouTube channels, and start their startups and things like that. So that's why I'm
Right.
saying you have to be very clear what you are looking for. So has to be a reason why you left the job, right?
Right.
Because you didn't like what you were doing. Maybe you didn't had a good experience. Maybe you expect more out of yourself, and that was not fulfilled, and probably that was the reason I'm listening to you. You left the job. You said, no,
Right.
I can do much better than this. So
Right.
my point here is, again, is there has to be a reason why you want to do PhD, and there has to be a reason what you want to do after that. If you say, this is what I want to do, honestly, why you want to spend $40,000 in Purdue, uh, because you will be in debt, and then you will be forced to do job in a company, and probably paying that debt for few years, and eventually will end up staying, like many students do. So here's the thing,
Right.
you have to understand. See, every year you will see 40, 50, 60, 70, 80,000 students come to US from all over the world, right? You will
Right.
not be different. Your story will not be that different. Your story will be one of
Right.
those stories. So you have to
Right.
so usually what you will see is students who come to US, do a 1 year masters. They hope The hope is, even though they are paying $40,000 or $50,000 from their pocket, the amount of money
Right.
that they will get paid or they can save, they will be able to pay their education loan in 5 to 6 years or maximum 10 years, and then they will have a decent living or life. That's the idea.
Right.
But if you
Right.
say, no, I want to do a PhD, and I cannot afford education loan, then it's a separate issue. Then if you cannot afford education loan, because there are these are sort of things happened when we were coming. So for example, in my case, I couldn't afford, my parents couldn't afford education loan, so I had to rely on a scholarship, right? Like
Right.
I cannot ask my
Right.
parents to pay $40,000. I cannot take that risk. That's my decision. I had a friend
Right.
who had admission at Stanford and another university. He couldn't go Stanford. He couldn't join Stanford just because he cannot afford education. No, he ended up joining other university where they were giving him full fellowship. And you will find people do that sort of a trade-off. So that's your decision, right? But
Right.
ultimately, what I'm trying to tell you is, whether do you do your master's or whether you will do your PhD, most likely you will able to find a job here and have a decent living. That's the path that people follow. As an
Right.
Indian student, if you decide to stay in US and you want a long-term benefit in US, I would advise to do PhD, not to do just masters. That's number one. There is no brainer on that for sure, because your visa and a lot of other things won't allow you to have a residency. That sort of a thing,
Right.
which becomes a little bit more complicated. So having a PhD is always good. Um,
Right.
right. And many students also say that they will come in a hope that they can come here and have a master's and probably end up um, finding a job or something. But you have to understand, every
Right.
student is having that hope. Every student who comes here.
Right. Right.
So you have to understand, like, this is also very, very normal. um,
Right.
I'm still struggling to tell you, like, what are you looking for? I mean, I feel like a lot of your questions are coming because you have been into this uncertain situation for last 1.5 year, because of COVID, because of a lot of things, and now you are having, it could be possible you're having second thought that you did not when you left your job. It could also be possible because things have changed, a lot of things have changed, and things like that. So I mean, I'm not saying that you made a bad decision leaving the job. I'm not, definitely not saying that. um,
Right.
here's the thing, if you want to do your PhD, if you are determined about your PhD. Because I will tell you one thing is, if you are interested in research, if you really
Yes.
feel like I want to do research, trust me, the 1 year masters
Yes.
won't do anything to you. You won't learn anything. It will go like a blink of an eye. I think you will learn, you must have learned much more by at IIT Guwahati. I can tell you that for sure.
Right.
And the reason is very simple.
Right.
1 year masters at Purdue would be course based. There will be no research, and you will end up studying course just like you do in your undergrad, and you will have no time going to anybody's lab or anything, and then it will go like in a
True.
blink of an eye, and you will be done, and here is your degree, and go out, then you have to leave. So
Right.
so in terms of experience, see, like you told your friends, right? I am pretty sure their idea was, I want to finish my master's, get a job, and I'm done. If that's what you are doing,
Yeah.
that's fine. That 1 year course will work. But if you're saying I'm going to gain some sort of a amazing research experience, that's not going to happen. That will not happen for
Right.
sure.
Right.
So you just keep that in mind, that 1 year masters is a quick way for students to get a degree who are not interested in studying and just want to get into a job in US. That's how these programs are designed, and is a good way for universities to make money. That's how these programs are designed. It's a
Right.
very few learning. It's
Right.
learning is like a course work, basically. Just you do your undergrad. In terms of
Right.
research, there is a zero learning. So you are the one who then can make a decision like, okay, what should I do now then? The better way, or
Right.
one of the good way is, again, either you do your masters in IIT and then come to US for PhD or somewhere. That's also a lot of people do, and in that case, your masters will be funded, your PhD will be funded. Then you don't have
Right.
to worry about your loan and all that. The second way to do it
Right.
is, you do your masters in US, get good grades, try to see, and then apply for PhD program again. That's another way.
Right. Right.
So make a decision based on.
Okay. I have a lot of interest in battery recycling,
Yeah, but that
and
part is, but that part is very trivial. But your interest, so you can tell me this is your interest, but that doesn't help me to give you an answer. I mean, that's your interest, right? So what I'm supposed to do, I mean, that's a good area to work on, like any other areas, right?
right.
I mean,
Right.
all I can tell you, you find a good area to do, but that has nothing to do whether you should come to US or whether you should pursue your master's or not. That's what my point is.
Right.
That's a good area.
Right.
I mean, that's a upcoming and good area. That's all I can say. That is, I mean,
Right.
that's good for sure. But at the same time, that area is getting very, very saturated too. But
Okay.
what I'm trying to understand from you is, maybe we can talk again sometimes, but try to ask yourself, what are you interested in, what you want to do? Because as I said
Right.
to you, is it's extremely easy to do a GRE, give a TOEFL, do a 1 year degree, master's degree, which is very common nowadays. Even Cornell has it, and a lot of
Right.
people has it, and in a hope that you will find a job in a company which probably nobody has heard um, any time, and then you will end up
Right.
probably find a job or something.
Right.
And you can think of, here one has to understand is, not everyone who graduate from Purdue have done their masters as an Indian and go and start working for IBM or any other company.
Right.
You have to understand
Right.
that too. So my
Right.
question would be, and you can think of your friends who went to US and did their masters, which company they are working in, what they are doing.
Right.
You can make a good idea about it. Is this something that you would like to do or not? So, as you said, this is based on all that. But if you said, in the
Right.
long run, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to work in India and stay in India. I mean, My
Right.
simpler answer is, in that case, first of all, don't put education loan on your head. Try to gain an education which is free of cost.
Right.
If you get a learning experience outside India, that's awesome, but try to get it for free.
Right.
Because that then it will allow you to move wherever you want. If you had a debt, then it constrains you. So do that,
Right.
and whether you do it in India or whether you do somewhere else. So here's the thing, if you want to become a professor in IIT Guwahati, let's say, I mean, I
Right.
would say that is one of the best jobs anybody can have if your hometown is Guwahati and you want to do something and you want to stay in Guwahati, right?
Right.
What you would do is you will probably end up, doing your master's in India and do your PhD from
Right.
outside, and then come back and apply for a professor job. I mean, I can tell you one coincidence.
Right.
The director of IIT Guwahati, TG Sitaram, he's a new
Right.
director.
Right.
We did summer internship under him when he was a professor at IIC Bangalore, long time back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we were undergrad in 2002, he was associate professor at civil engineering department at IIC Bangalore, and me and my friend both went
Okay.
and did our summer internship under him. So
Okay.
anyway, what long story short, what I'm trying to tell you is, um, uh, don't make a clear distinction between, because there's a saying called the grass is greener on the other side, right? You will always feel
Right.
that. So make a wise decision,
Right.
like what you really want to do. So and make sure your objective is very
Right.
clear in life. Like that's what I said. If you say, Amit, I want to become a professor in US and I want to stay in US, that's a goal, because
Right.
that gives me clarity to give you an answer. If your goal is,
Right.
no, I want to become a professor at IIT Guwahati, tell me what should I do now. I would say that is such
Right.
a clear goal, because then I can tell you the answer. Okay, if you want to do this, you should do this. If you want to do that, you should do this.
Right.
So that's how clear you have to be before you take a step. But if you decide to come to Purdue, that's your decision. But as I said, the path for you would be is you will be end up spending $45,000. You will end up finding a job
Right.
at a company, and you will be struggling for looking for a job. And like any student, you will end up finding a job, and then um, you will be staying here like any student, um,
Right.
until you decide to go back and pay your education loan. But then, you will have less value. It's not like you do your master's from Purdue and some company in India is gonna throw a red carpet. It doesn't happen,
Right. Right.
because there are a lot of students and nobody cares where you did your master's. And it doesn't matter. So or you, after your master's, you can say, I can go for my PhD, but then you have to worry about, okay, how I'm going to pay my $40,000 loan, right? You have to worry about that too. So that's why a
Right.
lot of students end up going to find a job. When you started working, it's difficult to go back to school. So
Right.
that is something that you have to think.
Right.
So, as I said, you probably need a little bit more clarity right now, but I would say, other than that, I mean, based on the discussion I have, if I have to summarize that discussion, I would definitely advise you, based on what you have told me, to rethink about
Right.
paying from your pocket and what you will
Right.
learn, what you get out of it. But if you, as I
Right.
said, but if you say, can I find a job and pay off the loan and have a life and have a job? Yes, you will. It should not
Right.
be that difficult. It should not be. But as I said to you again,
Right.
you will working in a company, probably nobody have heard of it. It's
Right.
that could, or that most likely that will happen, most likely. But you may be exceptional and working for Tesla or someone. But a lot of these companies,
Right.
what happens is they don't offer visa and all that. So sometimes that's a tricky part.
Right. Right.
So make that decision wisely. And,
Right.
But coming to US and going to Purdue and it's all course a dream for many students. It's not
Right.
it's not that. So that is also a fun, but 1 year program, I it's not it's these is
Right.
in when I was undergrad, we started applying for master. There is no 1 year program. They started these schools have started these programs because they need money too. So everybody's coming through these
Right.
new innovative things, and it works for some consumer and buyer. You know what I mean? Like it works both ways. So like,
Right.
okay, you get 40,000. Student don't want to study. They get there. They get out of it quickly and but in terms of learning, there is absolutely no learning. I trust me, you have learned more where you are right now.
Right. I understand.
Okay. Yeah. Okay,
So
Dilshi,
one last question is that
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
one last question is that uh, due to my indecision, I think I am 26 already, and I feel that I don't have much time to make any more mistakes. So what do you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, I can understand, like, I'm 40 years old. I sometimes feels I wish I'm 26. You know what I mean? So
Right. Right.
it's a point of reference. But definitely I would say
Right.
is the earlier you have clear ideas, the better it is. That's all I can say. So
Right.
all I can tell you is whatever you want to do for rest of your life, plan as quickly as possible because 26 is still better than 30.
Right.
That's all I can say. 26 is not late in
Right.
my opinion, because if you decide to go for your masters or if you decide to go for your PhD or whatever, it's not late, because
Right.
many people do mm, usually a age where people finish their PhD, especially coming out from India, is like 29, 30. I would say that's an average.
Right.
Yeah. So, as I said to you, is if you're able to uh, translate your master's into a PhD program at Purdue, that would be awesome. But still, you have to
Right.
worry about your $40,000.
Right.
Yeah, but that's all I'm saying. But there are couple of things that I would also advise is avoid loan if possible. If possible. If not,
Right.
it's not bad to have loans, because many people think loans are bad, but you can see if you are adding a value and hope you will find a job and make that 40,000 to a million if for future, right?
Right.
So it's an
Right.
investment that it's not bad. Um,
Right.
but there's a risk associated with it. But looking at the data, I mean, so many students comes and everybody finds a job. So why won't you? So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's a calculated risk. This pandemic was a
Right.
little bit different, where many students were not able to find a job and things like that. But hopefully, things are not that bad now in US.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so that's one thing. So you can take an easy path and say, hey, I can come for my master's and do a job. And here I'm 27, 28, and I have a job and I have a life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
that's one way to think of it. But then don't think about but you have to delay your other dreams for sure.
Right.
I would say that is the easiest path for you. That
Right.
that avoids too much of a trouble, because eventually you have to earn money, because right now you're not, right? You're supposed to earn money, so you're not. But that
Right.
$40,000 burden will be on your head. But that's a risk, as I said. That's the easiest path. But what's the second alternative? Second alternative is you give your gate exam, or you go for MTech in India, and then you go for a PhD. That's like you add another 2 + 4 or 5, 7 years. Are you ready for that?
Right.
It's totally your decision.
Right.
The other way is to think about is I don't want to do anything. I probably go back to Dr. Reddy's lab and start my work. That's one other way to look at it. So
Right.
that's what options you have. Or maybe you start
Right.
your own chai ki dukan in Guwahati. That's a fifth alternative.
That
So that's what I'm
seems
saying is
important.
like, yeah, no, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying is like, when I say chai ki dukan means you start your own some business. That's what I meant.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, many people have done that too. I know a student from IIT Gandhinagar who is a BTech. went out, didn't took any job, and went to his hometown in Ghaziabad and started a machine shop, and he's doing very well now. That's
Right.
what I'm saying is like this. You have to make that decision.
Right.
But this is I want to just give you a clear picture without anything. These are the possibilities you can see, and so you see yourself where you fit in.
Right.
Yeah. And again, one thing I will caution you that many people say, and I will give you a very strong advice. You do PhD out of your interest. That I keep on saying. You don't do PhD because that one day you will find a job, much more high-paying job and things like. It doesn't work that way. If people don't take a right decision, people who have PhDs are the people who are most frustrated also, because you feel like you have wasted your time, and it doesn't guarantee anything except you are first in line getting a green card in US. That gives you some sort of a stability. As a master's, you will always have that instability.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Dejit, I have to leave now,
sir.
but hopefully this conversation gave you some good sense or some good idea.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Yeah.
No, not a problem. And keep in touch and let me know if you decide to come over here. Okay.
Sure.
And I will send you a link. Just reply to that link so that other students can get help. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Talk to you later. Bye.
Okay. Bye.